Yep,
Before
Jerry,
we
you're
get,
gonna want to change your view.
uh, which view are you looking at?
We're looking at the presenter side.
Are you kidding me? Golly. All right, give me a second here.
We don't normally have this many problems.
Thought I had that fixed. How's that look?
No, it looks okay. I think that's the slides only now.
Okay. Anna, you still there? Did I lose you?
Nope, I'm still here.
Okay. Does that look good then?
Yep, it looks better.
Okay. All right. So before we begin, is anybody here for the first time? This is not working either. Really? Then I have to do it this way.
Jer, I think we have a ghost in here. Maybe Earl's playing tricks on us.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, Earl. Okay, anybody here for the first time? No, everybody's been here. Yes, I know everybody's been here. Y'all look very familiar to me. How about over in Fargo or even online Nobody here is new today. Okay, that's fine. We'll just move on. Like last time, I put up this slide here. The question is, why are we here? And that's, the $1 million question. And I came up with all these things on here, tell our story and all the way down to the gamut, just keep the conversation going, etc. But seeking the truth together, I think, is a big part of kind of why we're here. We all got the questions, and we're all wondering what in the heck is really going on. And we all know there's a million different things going on, but if we can just get one shred of truth once in a while, that would be great. And I think that's kind of what brings us together and kind of keeps us all going. So anyhow, I don't know if anyone wants to chime in. Anything, thoughts? Nothing. Everyone's going to be really quiet today. Okay. I can't see online, so if anybody's online that wants to talk, you just speak up. And if it's anybody in Fargo, just, Anna, help them out because I can't see anybody. Okay, moving on. Today, what do we got? Just a couple announcements. And then Fred and Rainier are going to talk to us about the Heston lights. They're also going to talk to us about this cool little box right here. And I'll let Rainier talk about that when we get to it. Q&A afterwards, then we'll take a quick break. I got some field investigator training on here, which is just one slide. It won't take long at all, but hopefully it'll kind of spark some interest for that. Then we'll get into some spotlight cases, what's up in Minnesota, or I'm sorry, excuse me, what's up in the Northland, and then anything that you guys want to share. And then, of course, at the end is the online drawing, well, the drawing for being here in person, and then our online YouTube trivia. One of my favorite spots. Okay, so who are we? We're co-op chapter, Minnesota and North Dakota. It can be long and convoluted, but basically 501c3 if you want to do a qualified charitable distribution for, that's, I'll spit it out here. I used to be able to spit this stuff out really easy. Anyhow, for like if you got an IRA or some type of retirement account and you want to distribute that to a qualified charity for a tax deduction, we can do that for you, or we can help you out with that. So anyhow, bottom line is we're here to investigate, seek the truth like we're talking about, and just learn together. And of course, we can't do that for nothing. So this year, we have brought back our anniversary even. Last year, it was the Golden Even, which you can see one over there on the table there for you, those of you here in Fargo, or I'm sorry, and I'm going to get this wrong all day long. In Grand Rapids. For you in Fargo, I don't know if you guys got one there or not. And for you all online, you know what I was talking about before. Anyhow, this year, it is the Glowy. It's a glow-in-dark one. It's one of a kind. I'm not making any more. I just made the one. So for every $5 that you donate, you're going to get one ticket. It's not a physical ticket. It's just we know that you've got one ticket in the pot. And then on December 21st, the day after the December 20th meeting, we're going to take a drawing for that and find out who wins. So great fundraiser. Help us out with that. We lots of things we need to get through. Yeah, I was telling these guys today, I got another 300 plus VHS tapes that I got to digitize. The VCR that I was using is dead. So now I have to go out and buy another one. And just like when they first came out, they're about $300. So they're not cheap. Not looking forward to that. Okay, so next month, who do we got? We got Lenville Logan from the UAP Task Force. So that one should be pretty cool. That'll be good for a December 20th meeting, or for our anniversary meeting next month. So now, today's guest, Fred and Rainier. And Fred and Rainier, forgive me for this, because I have not practiced these bios. They just got put on here. So I'm going to try to read through them and just yell at me if I get it wrong, okay? So start out with Fred. Fred earned his degree in mathematics, physics, and computer science from the University of Oslo in '83. Following his graduation as a science teacher from that place right there. What is that place called, Fred?
It's HIT, Trondheim. Just call it HIT.
Okay, HIT in 1981. Thank you. With a strong academic foundation, he's built a career on programming and technology, developing solutions across Europe and the United States. In 2023, Fred's lifelong interest in the UFO phenomenon led him to Project Hessdalen, where he now serves as CEO after helping establish it as a nonprofit organization. Good thinking. I'm glad you did that. He coordinates international research efforts, organizes conferences, and develops digital infrastructure to support scientific investigation of unexplained aerial phenomena. Fred's passion for UFO research dates back nearly 5 decades, beginning with his early attempts to form a local UFO club. Today, he represents Norway as deputy for the ICER Association and is an active member of the UFO Rogaland, continuing his mission to advance serious inquiry into the unknown. That is Fred. Next, we're going to get to Rainier. Rainier, he holds a degree in computer science from the Kempten University of Applied Sciences in Germany. For the past 18 years, he's worked as a data acquisition system programmer at one of the Germany's leading particle accelerators, specializing in the design and implementation of systems that measure particle beams and process complex data sets. Wow. That's impressive, Rainier. January 2024, he joined Project Hessdalen, where he has installed 2 new cameras atop the Blue Box to expand observational capabilities. He oversees the video recording systems and develops methods to analyze footage for potential anomalies. In addition, he has engineered portable magnetic field data loggers, which is this right here. And I'm sure, Rainier, you're going to tell us all about them. He did field data loggers to capture measurements across multiple locations in the Hessdalen Valley. Guided by a rigorous scientific mindset, Rainier has committed to collecting traceable, reproducible, and high-quality data, both in his professional work and in the research project he pursues in his spare time. So, gentlemen, thank you. Let me stop sharing screen.
And I just want to say a couple quick things. I had the pleasure of getting to know these guys, along with Erling, who is here also joining us in this meeting, and they are amazing people.
Thank you.
Okay, really? All right, hang on. Okay, Fred, floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, and let's see if this share button works. Screens, desktop, share, and
there we go.
You can see. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So first of all, I have to say thank you to Anne, because she joined our field trip, and it was so much we got out of her sitting there discussing it at night. That was just amazing. So what I'm going to do is just give you hopefully a short overview of what Project Hessdalen is, why it has been known as a UFO hotspot, and what we are trying to do now. So you explained who I am, and now you can see where I live, and you can also see where Erling lives. This is he lives close to the capital, Oslo, but he still has like 6-7 hours drive up to Hessdalen. And he's been driving that for years and years. I have 14 hours drive, so normally I take the airplane to Trondheim, and then it's 2 hours south of Trondheim, which is just behind that label Hessdalen, actually. What I'm going to do is give a short overview of the history, because basically we have 3 phases, 83, 93, and then 23. So, and all of these years is... all of these first 40 years is Erling Strand that has been keeping it alive. I'm shortly going to comment on how we are working as an organization, and I have one page about the projects, like an overview of what we are doing, and I leave the rest to Rainer. So this is a picture from the newspaper. Back in '81, when the phenomena was reported and people took strange pictures, as it says here, up to 20 observations a week. And every Norwegian would know about this because it was in all the newspapers, all the radio, all the magazines, and everywhere. And I didn't have any money to drive up to Trondheim, to Hessdalen at the time, but Erling did. He just had his first job. And this is the group that actually started the first project Hessdalen, in '83. So this is a few years after. And the first field report had more than 150 lights seen on the sky, and 53 was classified as anomalous, like they could not explain what it is. Interesting enough, at the time, the military was very helpful with the equipment and anything. And they were so enthusiastic about the first report that was delivered in '84. They said that if we get as good result next year, they would fund this field work. Next year in '85, it was only one good observation. And Erling is here now, so maybe I can ask him later on, what was that good observation? Because I actually don't know, but he's here. These are some of the pictures. We have on our site the UFO archive that has been collected by one in UFO Norway, and it was donated to us. All the articles, and they're in PDF format, and it's on a Google Drive, so you can actually search. And these are some pictures I took from the years '82, '83. Kind of strange. I like this bottom one here, because this one is actually reported by the guy that took this picture that it's like a craft. It was just over his head. And Anne, you have actually driven on that road where he saw it. There's a lot. If you Google Hessdalen, you will find a lot on different TV channels. On Google has a lot of information. People put out their own videos. And luckily in 2015, the library in the community, or the municipality, together with the library in Norway, they funded to create this documentary. And this link here actually gives a link to a with English subtitles, so you can understand what these people say. So when talking to Anne here, she probably went to the shop, and she didn't know it, but she probably went past Anders, because he's just working at the shop down there. So these are just local people. Jan Moen is a member of the team. Jan Arvid is the one that gave us the key to this Red Cross cabin where we stayed, and is a very enthusiastic person, really wants to get this known. These are all good cases, explained very well in this documentary. So in the beginning, it was very positive. We even had a visit by J. Allen Hynek, and everybody was like, what is this? They want to know. And then suddenly it started to be like negative talking, maybe they are drinking too much, maybe this is the devil's work. And the people in the valley did not want to talk about it anymore. So I found out that Erling actually went back to Hessdalen. I think he was asked by the people, like, okay, what happened? It's been 10 years now. What happened? Can you come and tell us? And he had a presentation. And after this presentation, people came up to him and said that, because he said like, it's a pity that there's no more sightings. And people then came up to him and said, no, there's still sightings. We just don't want to talk about it because it's only ridicule. So after that, he took the initiative to invite scientists from 8 different countries. So they had the first international workshop on the unidentified atmospheric light phenomena. It was ball lightning as the topic. They found out it was not ball lightning. But there were many scientists, and then there's a change in the attitude after so many scientists had been here. So this is the phase 2, because now Erling found out, okay, let's start up. And he actually started a science camp. He invited students to go there, to have field trips, to do scientific work, to help him to build this blue box, which is the automatic monitoring system. So this is all the way back from 1994 up to Corona stopped the whole thing. And there are hundreds and hundreds, I think 600-700 students that have gone through this. They helped him to build this automatic measurement station, and it was set up in 98. And I think I have some pictures. First of all, this is the most famous picture, I think. If you Google Hesdalen, this is what you will find. This light here where my cursor is actually a camp of students on the other side of the valley, and those on this side taking the picture. This is a long exposure, so you have a spectrogram, so you can find out that this is actually a solid object. The funny part about this is that, you see it, you have it on the camera. There are I think maybe 30 people all in all to see this. But before the light was visible, they saw it on the radar. So they called up from Italy and said, okay, it's there now in the valley. And no, nothing, can't see anything. And then it started to blink, and then more rapid, and then the light was on for quite a while. And then it went out, and they called down to Italy and said, okay, it's gone. And they said, no, it's still on the radar. Kind of interesting. I hope that the sound is getting through. I want to show this video because it kind of explains a little bit about the enthusiasm when you see this. This is actually the first part is from the blue box in 99, and I think it's November or December in 99, where you see this light going over the valley. And these are houses, light from the houses. And then there are the reactions from the students. Let's hope that the sound goes through.
Å, fy fader! Jeg filmer det, jeg har det på tape! Jeg har det her! Å, dæven!
So this is from New Scientist, but we have these 2 videos out on our YouTube channel. Did you get the sound, by the way?
No, the sound didn't get through.
Ah, damn it. Then you have to go and look at our YouTube channel. Both of them are there. So these are just a collage of the pictures from 1988, August to December. And you can see that during the night, the camera will be black and white, and it will mark the phenomena with yellow. And these are in 2000, some pictures. So I'm showing you this so that you can compare it with what Rainer can show you later on with a new upgraded camera, 4K camera. So there's been a lot of interest in this phenomena. And Erling has been on so many conferences. He's been to all kind of History Channel, Discovery Channel, a lot. You can actually find his page by searching Erling Per Strand. And you can see there's links to talks and TV, and there's way back. So just as a comment to that is that when I took over the website in 2023, it was about 1,000 visitors every day, and during 1 month there were more than 90 countries to visit this site, hesdalen.org. So even now, it's like we get requests from TV channels, and just recently we had Discovery Channel with Expedition X. Here's a link when they are interviewing Helge Otterø. And when he's saying, be careful, strange things happen in the valley, it's because he saw two creatures crossing the street in the middle of the night. And so we have lights, we have crafts, and we have creatures. Not so many cases, but I think I have 6 cases of creatures and many cases of crafts. They asked if we could have a town hall meeting, so we did that. Jon Arvid, like one of the guys that have seen like more than 150 times, he's lost count now. And what you see here on the side is actually kind of his first sighting. There were so many people lining up, and he was living there, but he never had the time to go and see for himself. So he went over to the people and said, okay, where are these UFOs? And they pointed and said, it looks like they're landing behind those mountains. So he took his snowmobile, 2 friends, 3 snowmobiles, and they crossed over that mountain, and they saw on the other side 3 lights. First 1, then 2, then 3, and these 2 last ones suddenly swapped places. And after a while, the middle one kind of went up a little bit and hovered, and the 4th one came down to replace its position. And then this one hovering then came over their head. And he said, it's kind of clear, I know what it is. It's a craft, because you can see it was like metallic. It had the light in the front, and it had the row of windows on the side. And there are some details probably missing, and it's probably not like I'm showing it here, because he saw it some years later with his son, and then it was only 50 meters away from him over the barn. And he said it was more rounded on the top, and it had like 4 landing gear on the bottom. During this town hall, Arnfinn was sitting next to me. He never actually got to talk to Expedition X Discovery Channel. So I asked, what is your story? I'd never heard this story before. And actually very close to where Anne was staying at the cabin, that area, there are some cabins in that area. This is where he saw a saucer landing, very typical saucer. And 3 creatures came out, and they kind of went around and kind of banged on this craft, and then went in again, and then it was hovering a little bit, and then it just took off. So that's his sighting. So this is the 3rd phase. In 23, Erling was kind of planning to retire from his work at school, and everybody was nervous who's going to continue this. So a group came together and decided, okay, let's make some kind of a membership system. So I think they decided that I like to make presentations, so you can be the CEO. Okay. Well, we got it registered as a non-profit, because then we wanted to have money from a membership, and we wanted people to know that this is all going to go to this science. Over the years, we've been able to get about $3,000 a year from membership. Sometimes, if we ask really hard, then the first years we've been pushing to get some donations, so we get to like $5,000. Nothing from companies at all. And I think that this should be a site that should be easy to sell web ads, but and I've been calling, I've been sending out emails, and no way. We have been applying for funds and grants, and we're not giving up. We have a project right now that looks like we may get a cooperation between Project Hestdalen, a university in Portugal, and the university in Norway. So that's very interesting. So it's a messy page here, but it's been 3 years of all we can do to kind of get it started again. for me, it was kind of get the tools I needed. We've had monthly meetings, and you can find the recordings out on YouTube. We've had started up with yearly field trips, and thank you, Anne, for joining. In 24, we had a field trip weekend and conference, and I can tell you people were exhausted because it was like lectures during the day and then out all night and then breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning. People called me 14 days after and said, like, it was really good, but I'm still exhausted. So this year we had it only field trip. The weather was not so good, but okay. And we plan to actually have another conference this year. I'll comment a little bit about that later on. So now I'm a little bit onto the how. So of course you can join us on subscribe. No money involved. Just go and look at our YouTube and subscribe. We have a Discord server. We have a newsletter, and we basically only send out once a month, so you're not getting spammed too much. You can become a member. That is like you pay €5, which is about $5 a month. And we don't want it to be too expensive because we want to have many members, basically. That's the goal, to get people involved in this. And we also have some development projects. So some are actually just joining as project members. They are basically just in for it for the software or the development that they can learn and test out. And then we have the core team, like then you have to apply to become a member. I'm working on the web page and trying to improve that. The Discord, and these are links that you can use. discord-hasdone.org will bring you straight into that or to the invite. And there's a lot of discussions going on there. So if you want to know what is the latest pictures and what people think about it, that's the place to go. And then I'll send out a newsletter just to update you what has happened lately. So, but the tools in itself, I think that I'm trying to make sure that people know how to use I'm using Google Workspace to kind of work on the same tools, the same structures. So that's a process, a learning process. So now this year, we went to the Soul Symposium, and I picked up one question there from a guy that said, why don't we get invited? Why don't we get to talk? And this was a guy that was an experiencer and an abductee. And I thought, okay, there are basically three parts of this. Is that like the science part, the academic part, and then the science part is like, how do we get the data? And the academic part is, how do we study it? And how do we kind of find out what it is? But why don't we invite also people that have actually experienced this, that says, I've been on a UFO? So I sent an email to President Dennett, and he said, yes, if I get enough people, he will come. So I'm kind of excited to see if we're able to pull this off for 26. That will be September 26. So just a little peek into the Discord. As you can see, we have many channels, and the blue box capture is one of them. Some of these channels are for team members only, but there's a lot of information being shared and discussed, so definitely worth looking into. We have our monthly events, so you can see the playlist down there. And in this case, it was actually Marek from Poland that is commenting on his passive radar and how he is trying to find out how different phenomena will show up on this passive radar. So I have a developer Hästar log. This is my little pet project because there's a lot we can do. Right now, it is the database itself, but there's a whole list of other things that we want to do. We want to put AI to analyze the pictures. We want to put people to create like a smaller box and put this onto a Raspberry Pi. And so there's a lot of things that can be done. So I'm just inviting people to join. So this is my last one, and this is basically telling you that we have the blue box, and this is with power and internet. So we want to know how we want to make a specification of what's in this box, so that we easily can make another box if we have good power and good internet and space, so we can put proper computers. Like the computer we put in there has to survive minus 40 degrees because it's cold in Hessdalen. But then we also try to make a mini blue box that is using a solar and a battery and then 4G. So it should be possible to use this with the camera and with sensors, but it would be nice to have software that can kind of detect something of interest and only send the video when needed, so we don't use too much bandwidth. It's kind of costly after all. But this should be easy to put out all over the valley, because the valley has a good connection, a good 4G all over the valley. And then we have one from Italy. He lives in Rome in Italy, and he is all into LoRa, which is a technology that makes it possible to create a mesh network. That means that one device will talk to the other device, and you can put these small devices all over, like really put it all over the valley. They're small. The battery doesn't have to be that big, so just a tiny little solar panel should be enough, and it can basically wake up on a regular basis and send information. And so my dream is that by having this kind of a system, we could kind of detect if there is something crossing over the valley, and then sending messages back to this mini or the hub for the mesh network. So all of this, we're trying to put all this into the cloud, and every night, every morning, you will find the pictures from last night being transferred, as it has been since 1998. And now it's the pictures from Rainer that you will see there, and he will probably show them, a lot of them. So the goal is to have sensors as well, and that data also in the cloud available. Erling has always had this concept that we are making the data available for everybody as fast as possible, so it's there for everyone to see. I'm hoping to use the cloud as like a data lake, so we can connect kind of a dashboard to it and get the information. And as time goes on, I want to make this into a system. If we get the experience, I want to share this experience. I want to open up our cloud so that others can also store on this one. So I've created what I call an open ADS, Open Anomaly Detection System initiative, and put that out. I see that there are others that have the same thoughts. We need to find a common protocol, a way to share data. So if we find the system, or if we together can see that this is the way to go, I'm all for that. This is just our initiative for now. Okay, I think that's it for me. Ooh.
Oh, thank you, Fred. Very, very interesting. I think we're going to post some of your links to stuff on our website for people to find and check out. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
So,
let me see.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Fred?
Well, I do want to say one thing here in Fargo. I wanted to let you guys at Project Hesdalen know that we do have cards here in Fargo and in Grand Rapids, so people can just take one of your cards. They don't have to write down the web address or anything like that. I'm putting
Okay.
those cards to good use, Fred.
Okay, nice. So you get to this site if you go to hesdalen.org, and very soon this is going to be changed to a new site. And this is also a place where you can have a login as a member. That means if you pay $5 a month, then you will get to this page and you have your own area. Yes.
All
We
right.
do have a question here in Fargo.
I was just wondering, well, first of all, thank you for the presentation. Very, very interesting, and I'm glad to have you back. I had a question. You said that some of the witnesses, some people claim to witness creatures. Do they give any descriptions of the creatures that they claim to see?
Yeah, they're different. The one that Helge saw, the one that was interviewed by Expedition S, they were like actually tall, thin, long-legged. He could not see their faces. It could be either because it was dark or because they had kind of a helmet on or something like that. But he said they walked like in synchronous. So when they're looking at him, it was like both of them were like looking at him at the same time, and then crossed over the next field through the forest, and then up there are some sheep, and they made some sound. So those are like, it doesn't have a very good description of them. There was another one that jumped onto the road and then continued, and it was obvious that the person had seen this creature pretty clearly. It was just in front of the car, but he did not want to tell about how it looked like. They really had to pull it out. And then when he said it, he said, well, it's like it had like a Rastafa. The hair was like long hair, Rastafa, and his feet was going like, not the knee in the front, but going backwards. So that's also a weird case. Some of the others are like not so clear as how they looked like, because one of them was like the one from Arnfinn. He also said that they looked like they had like uniform on, more white uniform. He said that they were like small as children, long arms, and they walked in kind of a strange way. But I have an interview with him where he's talking about this, but it's in Norwegian. But that's also available on the site. Are you still seeing my page? So it's still under projects. Yeah, projects, observations on this one. And actually, when you just see this one, you can click on it and you will get to my own recording when he's talking about it. But you should definitely go and listen to this documentary. So there are different kinds of creatures. One of them was just like the wife of Jan Moen. She saw something she thought was a car that had gone into the river. Turned out that it was like a round oval thing, and she saw something moving inside. So she didn't see exactly what it was, just like inside the windows there, and then it flew off.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question here in Grand Rapids.
Yes, I was wondering about theories about what it is about the Hesdalen Valley that's attracting this phenomena.
Personally, I think it's something in the ground, to put it that way. Of course, Erling is here, so maybe he should answer that better than me. But personally, I think it must be something because it's a mountainous area and there are lots of minerals. So it's not only here. They're going to start mining again, but the next town is Røros, which is the biggest mining area in Norway. So that could have something to do with it. Maybe some of the phenomena that you see are typical lights. It's almost like you have a Faraday effect that something builds up and then you get this flash. Some people are talking about lights from the mountain going up and then standing a little bit and then continue. One guy, actually, he's on the front page here, and I'll just go and find him because he is planning to. This guy, he went there 15 years to see the light, and after 15 years, he was on the lake fishing during the winter, and he saw this light that goes up from the other side of the lake, and it goes up and it stops, and it was like oval orange, and it goes up and down a little bit, pulsating in a way, up and down, and then it continues higher up and stops again, and then now it's more round and red, and then it goes up and down again, and then it disappears. And this repeated 2 times. For me, this sounds like a natural phenomena, like as if there's some energy that is kind of like released. And the same phenomena like this has been observed by other people too. So, as I say, for me, it's lights, craft, and creatures. And I think there must be something in the ground, something in the area that makes it interesting.
Okay. Anybody else? No, nobody here? About Fargo.
Now we have a Q&A after, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, we lose Anna. No, there she is.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry. It's just I'm at a weird angle so other people can see the screen.
Mm-hmm.
The question that we had here from Fargo, he just wanted to say thank you very much for the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Fred, can you stop sharing?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out where that window is. Maybe here somewhere. Where is it? Let me see. Zoom. Oh, no.
Oops.
If you start sharing, does it take over mine?
I will try.
You try that first. Seriously? Oh, there's a small one there. Stop
There you go.
share.
Reinhardt's sharing.
Okay.
Sharing now. We're good. Thank you, Fred.
Okay,
you
you see it full screen now?
Yeah, perfect, Reinhardt. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect.
I apologize for mispronouncing your name earlier.
No problem, no problem. All good. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the current research we are doing. A very brief outline. Main thing is the current research and the latest observation, which we had, some of them just a few days old. Thank you for the wonderful introduction of mine and also for the invitation, of course. So like it was told, I'm a computer scientist working at a research institute in Germany at the moment. And I joined Project Hessdalen in January 2024. And all of this, like the others too, I'm doing in my spare time. And I'm responsible mainly for cameras, the sensor, server, software, and some ideas maybe. So last year, we decided that we want to measure the magnetic field. And as I've been told, these 2 loggers made it safely to the US, so you can have a look at them. Shortly after I joined the project, a former team member told me that he had some observations by his own that the compass was off. So he was climbing some mountains, and from one day to the day later or 2 days later, the north of the compass was shifted by 18 degrees, 18 degrees. And that's quite unusual. So a solar storm cannot cause such a big difference in the compass. Then there are reports of drone problems, which don't want to start. We had this year, for example, there were some other Americans and their drone stopped mid-air. They could get it to land, but for the rest of the week, it wouldn't work. And then there are also reports from hunters that there is a zone, we call it now the silent zone, where animals do not go. We don't know if this has magnetic reasons, but we nevertheless put some loggers there. So they say when a bird is approaching this zone, before it is flying above this zone, it makes like a 90-degree turn to not fly above it. And shortly before I joined, I was involved in another data logger project. So I said, hey, let's just build some data loggers, put them out, record the magnetic field, and see if we catch something. And this is also what we did. So since you have them, I talk a little bit more about these maybe. So the main sensor, or the most important one, is the magnetometer, so it can measure the magnetic field of Earth. It is the kind of sensor which is also in a cell phone, more or less. This was completely privately financed by ourselves, the two of us. So we said, okay, let's spend 1,000 euros or dollars together. And then we calculated, okay, how many can we build and what components can we use? So for every component, there is a better one, but you have to remember we built 50 of these, and every dollar counts with that amount. So the main thing was the magnetometer. You can see a little bit of the tech specs and the exact name there. Then we had also temperature, humidity, and air pressure, even though it was a watertight box, but the temperature is always good to know, and also the humidity, because then you know when water is leaking in, and when you get funny values and the humidity is at 100%, you know it is not watertight anymore. We have a sensor, gyro, and accelerometer. This we used, the accelerometer, to determine if the sensor was moved, for example, by some animals, or if somebody went there and is picking it up, because then, of course, the magnetic field changes, the values of the magnetic field the sensor is measuring, but also the accelerometer detects, oh, now this whole sensor is moved. Gravity is not pointing straight down anymore, it is moved. And this we use to distinguish when we have something on the magnetometer reading, was it moved or was it stationary? We saved everything on a micro SD card. We had a real-time clock that every sensor knows when it took its measurements. I created a custom PCB, and the battery run between 7 to 30 days normally. So this was the manufacturing process. We did a lot of soldering. And then we thought, okay, now we have these loggers, or even before, of course, we thought, where can we put them? It all happened last year, and I was in Hessdalen twice last year. First time in, I think, June or July, and there I already have 5 prototypes ready. So I took these 5 loggers with me, and I placed them already at different locations in the valley. And remember, in the valley, he changed the batteries once, so they were, in theory, be able to run for maybe a month, 1.5 months or so. So these were 5 separate loggers at very different locations spread over the whole valley. And then we thought, okay, so the idea was to use the rest of the loggers in a grid. So to have them spaced with an even spacing between them. So if something is happening, then maybe we can even determine a direction. So if some craft or whatever would fly through the valley and do some magnetic field disturbance, if we have a grid and it is above this grid, then we would be able to see it. This was our dreams. So we thought about, okay, where shall we put this grid and what should be the spacing? So, and then we selected this silent zone where the animals are said to not go. It is like a valley next to Hessdalen. There are no streets there, so you have to hike for 1.5 to 2 hours one way roughly. And we said, okay, 30 of our loggers are ready for it. We chose a 140-meter spacing, which is a different value in feet. And then we also thought, okay, what will be the sampling frequency for this? Because it's always a trade-off between battery life and the sampling frequency. And so we thought, okay, 4 Hertz, so 4 measurements a second, the values are recorded, especially magnetometer, gyro, accelerometer. And the other values like temperature are only recorded once a minute. It's important to note that we are looking for relative changes in the magnetic field of Earth, not the absolute value, because calibrating of a magnetic field sensor can be quite tricky. But if we are just measuring the differences, that's quite easy. So this works very, very well. If you have it on your table and just slightly bump the table or move it a tiny, tiny little bit, you see it immediately in the measurement values. It's also important to note that we returned all loggers after the measurement campaign to not leave anything outside in the field. So here you can see me last year in a very relaxing 6-hour, 45-minute deployment hike. You see we had the loggers with us. We calculated the GPS coordinates in advance. And then we went outside to this valley and placed them. We tried to place them on a piece of solid rock wherever possible. But you can see there's lots of lichen and moss on the ground. So sometimes it was not really possible to have it on a firm stand, but yeah, we did our best. Sometimes we shifted it a few meters in position. On the right, you can see all the 30 loggers in the valley. Of course, you don't see anything if you are far away. And we also put some cameras to check if we get anything on the cameras. We had two different kinds. I put out some GoPros, and with a external battery pack, a power bank, they can run roughly 11 to 12 hours. And then we had two other ones, and with on time lapse mode, and they can run up to a week, but only with one picture every, I don't remember exactly, every half a minute or minute. So not so many pictures. The GoPros, they were running on, one was running on the video mode, 24 or 25 frames a second, and the other one with time lapse with one picture per second, I think. And then we got some results. The first results were quite sad because all of the 5 long-term loggers had corrupt data. I still don't know why, because I tested these loggers for a long time in my home. I mean, I was building them. I had plenty of prototypes. They were running here for months. I put them outside, in the rain, in the fridge, in the deep freezer, in the shower. They all survived here in Germany, but not so in Hessdalen. So the 5 long-term loggers, they have corrupt data. Some segments of the data are okay, nothing special in there. And then in between, there's just some binary garbage data. And so far, I could not get any information out of these. So I don't know why this happened. And then the loggers in the grid, 29 of the 30 grid loggers worked fine. So we retrieved the data from them. Here's a typical data track, a little bit enlarged. So the magnetometer records the magnetic field of Earth in all 3 axes. So X, Y, Z, up, down, left, right, front, back, so to say. And what you can see here, this is exactly what we would expect. At the very beginning in Hessdalen, we put the batteries in. We were moving them a little bit around in our cabin. This was the preparation. And a day later, we did the deployment hike. That's these big spikes in all of the values. And then you see the following 6 days, the magnetic field more or less stays the same. And this is exactly what we expected when there is nothing going on. At the end, you can see exactly when we retrieved the loggers back, then you see again, of course, in our backpacks, the loggers are moving, and then also the magnetic field is moving. All of the data looked exactly like the slide before, except for one. So when we plotted the data for this one magnetic axis was doing something strange, as you can see here. So in the middle of these 6 days, one of the magnetic field axis, the x-axis, was acting strange. I have it enlarged on the next slide. You can see it here. So over the course of about 15 minutes, the magnetic field dropped. And the strange thing is only the x-axis dropped. So this is really strange because normally if you move the logger, you always see it on all 3 axes. And even if you put a magnet close to this magnetometer, you always influence all the 3 axes. You cannot place a magnet so precisely to only influence one of these axes. So this is a little bit strange. And then I looked on the other sensors. And the evaluation of the data is not yet finished, I have to say, but we saw also a little bit on the other sensors. On the upper plot, you can see the accelerometer, and it looks that one of the axes of the accelerometer was also a little bit moved, which is also strange because normally all of them move. And then the gyrometer, so the gyro, which measures if the sensor is turned in any direction, had exactly one data point in one axis that the sensor was turned. So I still don't know what exactly happened there. So for the magnetic field sensor, maybe the sensor broke because we had to count every dollar which we spent. So maybe it was just a faulty sensor. But then we have also something on the other sensors. But still, it could be something with the loggers. We are not super sure what it is. So we are still looking in the data. I did some filtering, but it's not yet clear. I did not get better data with the filtering yet than with the original data we are looking at now. I also did a quick compare with the Intermagnet database. So there are measurement stations all over the world which measure the magnetic field of Earth very precisely, but I could not find any correlate similarities or differences. The next station is also quite far away. I try to correlate it with weather from the cameras, with rain, because sometimes we have a little bit of shift in some sensors, but not all of them. Solar activity was normal at that time. But if there are some experts of magnetic field loggers in the audience, please contact me. I'm happy for every help. Yeah, and just a last word about the loggers. So some are still in Hessdalen right now. Right now, I guess they are out of battery, but I placed them there with another type of software. They are measuring only once per minute, and hopefully they should stay, or the battery should last maybe 3 to 6 weeks, hopefully. And yeah, next year, or if I ask a member in the valley to get it, then we have a little bit of more data, and they're portable. So Anna took 2 of them, and they can be used to track the magnetic field of Earth, hopefully, the relative changes. Yeah, if you want to know more, we can talk about it maybe later in the Q&A section. What else did we do last year? So we put out some cameras. So offline camera is just a fancy name for I put my GoPro anywhere and hope that I catch something. The GoPros with the power banks, like I said, they can run for 12 to almost 24 hours. And I mean, people sometimes have something on them. So whenever, each night, I put my GoPros out somewhere. In the morning, I retrieve them, charge the batteries, empty the SD card, and then put them out again. So it's not really a holiday for me in Hessdalen. I try to get as much data as possible. What do you see on these cameras? So you get beautiful time-lapse shots, of course, as you can see in the upper right. We have different kinds. So some people use their DSLR, GoPros, or this other kind of cameras, which can run for a week. They record either pictures or videos or the raw files if they can. And they also record metadata. So for example, some GoPro models can record the GPS data, and they have also internal camera sensors. For example, they also have a magnetometer or an accelerometer, and these sensor values are embedded in the video stream. So you can, after you get the video, you can extract the sensor data and see if something happened. And on the bottom left, you can see the GPS positions of one camera plotted. So one position directly under the label is a little bit off, but this happens often if you just start up the camera. The GPS fix is not that strong, and then after a while, it gets a better location. And as you can see on the bottom left, the better locations are all more or less on the same place. So that's an example shot. So I put the cameras out at different location. This, for example, is the exit of an old sulfur mine. You cannot see the exit by itself. It's like on top of the exit looking down to the river. And indeed, we captured some non-human intelligence, but just not the kind I was hoping for. So you have all kinds of animals roaming around, and yeah, you can get these on the cameras easily. So that's a video from one of these cameras, a GoPro actually, I put into the forest behind the blue box. I got them the next day and I scrubbed through the footage and I saw this. And we were heavily looking at the footage and enlarging it. Okay, what is this? Is this in front of the tree trunk? Is it just at the besides? We checked on Google Maps. That's that screenshot. Okay, is there something in this direction? The camera was looking where a road or whatever. There is a valley, as you can see on the lower left. There is a forest, as you can see on the lower left. But normally, for a long time, there is no house and no street. So the next day, I went there with the compass, and I was walking the exact compass direction up and down, and not leaving the compass direction, to see if something is there. And I walked for half an hour, 45 minutes, but there was basically nothing. So there was forest. Sometimes the hill goes down, then the hill goes up again. Some old cattle fences, cattle posts, but nothing electric. Okay, so the next day I put 3 cameras to the same space, and checked if they recorded something. And really, it caught the light again. And then I said, okay, so on the third day, we have to go there in person and see if we see it with our own eyes. So 2 members, you can see me and another one. We went there during nightfall. We were sitting there, and indeed, we saw a light appearing. And we were very excited. We were like jumping out. We were walking to the direction of this light. There's like a small valley then going down. And then on the edge of the valley, still in the forest, we took our binoculars. And then we saw, okay, sadly, it's vehicles. It was like a tractor and also a cabin far away. We don't know exactly where this stands, but we could clearly see, okay, some vehicle is going back and forth, maybe doing some farm work, whatever. But during the day, I did not see it. So I would have never thought that through all this several hundred meters of forest, that a light can shine through and hit my camera. Yeah, but we found out, sadly, no aliens. Yeah, but we learned a lot from that. What we also did last year is we put some new cameras onto the blue box. So this finally is a picture of the blue box. It's a small shipping container sitting in the valley on top of a hillside. And there were many old camera systems on the blue box. Only one was still running. The others were from other experiments or from older times. And these we replaced with a new digital system. So you can see some technical data here. We got some 4K cameras, which can withstand the harsh weather conditions. They have good low light capabilities. They have a high dynamic range. So hopefully if we get something very bright in the night, maybe we can see some details even in this bright light. And they run 24/7. So at the moment we are recording constantly from 3 cameras. 2 are at the blue box, 1 is close to the lake. We are recording 24/7, and I will show you in a second what we'll do with all this video footage. I just want to mention there's another camera system on top, the so-called SkyCam from a German university. They also have 2 cameras pointing in the same direction, and they have an artificial intelligence running on a server directly in the blue box. So they are not recording 24/7. They are just recording when the camera and the UI, the AI detects an event. So they try to classify birds, insects, and unknown. And whenever they detect something, they save it and they classify it. And then the professor in Germany or some students, they check these unknown cases from the recordings. And when they have something on their cameras or we have something on our cameras, we talk to each other and see if they also caught it. Just a quick side note, our cameras also record audio. They have a not very good microphone on them, but there is a microphone. And we can, for example, see helicopters on the spectrogram of the microphone. So the horizontal lines are more which do not change, are more or less bad traces from the bad microphone. But this Doppler effect thing in the middle, that's a helicopter passing through the valley. And we also see cars. But the main thing we see on the audio is just wind. So it is super windy almost all the time. So yeah, wind is the only thing I see often. So like I said, we have lots and lots of video data, and looking or watching it in real time is not the most exciting part. So what are we doing? We are stacking these videos into single images. And one can think of it as an artificial long-time exposure done from a video file. So we are taking a video file, we record in 20-minute chunks, and then I'm going through this video file frame by frame. And for each frame, I store the brightest pixel or the brightest value of each pixel coordinate. And what comes out, you can see here. So if something is moving in the camera image, in the camera video, the stack will look accordingly. So if something is moving around in a bright way, you immediately can identify it in the stack. And you also see the line this meteor is causing is a dashed line. And that is because I only stack every second frame. So this has the advantage that you immediately see very fast movements. If it is a continuous line, I will show you many examples later, then it's mostly satellite, or a plane, because they move so slow. Then this every second stacking every second one does not matter. And since we are working with digital cameras, I can also stack for the darkest pixel at each coordinates, because many reports are about stuff that is seen during the day. And then, of course, it is dark in front of the bright sky. And this is what you can see here. So birds and insects during the summer times, we get thousands of them, and they look like this on the stacks. So now I have many examples what the cameras see. First, or lots of normal images, and then also some cases which we cannot explain yet. Like I said, in the summer we have lots and lots of insects. Even during nightfall, you have some moths flying around. In the summer, dragonflies, sometimes very close to the camera. Or some very weird looking insects, but still insects. And since we keep all the original video files, if something strange is showing up, we can always go back to the video file and look at the video in real time. And this is how we're operating. At the moment, we do not have an AI looking at these stacked images. So some members of our Discord community, including myself, we are looking at them. And whenever we see something strange, we get the original video file and we take a look at it and try to explain what we recorded. Yeah, we can see lots and lots of birds. And sometimes birds can look like something unknown for a really long time. So they can fly quite some distance without flapping their wings. You see on the very right, it started to flap its wings, but sometimes we have a picture like this through the whole field of view. Yeah, this bird even got himself some lunch. Many, many birds. Sometimes you can see them circling in the warm air to get heat. Birds can also show up as a bright line. So if they have white feathers, or if the sun is right, sometimes you can get bright tracks from the birds if they are in front of vegetation, for example. And I have no idea what happened during these 20 minutes, but I have the feeling every bird in Hessdalen was saying hello to our camera. Satellites and planes are something very common in the night, of course. So the airport of Trondheim is not far away, and planes to Trondheim or away from Trondheim we see very, very often. These are these 3 tracks which you can see here. This is a plane going through the clouds. That's why you don't see it in the middle of this streak. At the bottom you can see the road, so that's the headlights of a car passing by. The very bright thing in the middle is the moon. And you can see the star trails because we are integrating over 20 minutes. And these lines, which this feathery line, and there's a condensation trail of an aircraft getting dispersed by the wind. So it's getting dispersed, invisible. On the top right, you can see a meteor if you look closely. I hope the zoom compression is not eating away all the details, but I have some more meteors later. The fainter lines going across, not following the stars, are mainly satellites. So we see them as fainter lines in the images. For example, here you have the Starlink satellites. And the very long line at the bottom is probably a plane. Also the other one, a little bit up from the middle. So planes are easy to spot on flight radar. If you have the paid subscription, you can go back for a year. And one member of the community is very good in identifying satellites. So if we find something strange with planes or satellites, most of the time we can find out. Yeah, we have some nice weather phenomena. For example, these light pillars. That's also a well-known phenomenon. If you have very small ice crystals in the air, and this is from January, then the lights from the ground can create these light pillars. And they look quite spectacular in live and also on the cameras. And what I did not know, these light pillars, it's also possible that they only show up in some height. So they are not going all the way to the bottom, just a little bit above the ground, they are visible. And that's also something which one can remember if you ever see something. And if it's cold and maybe ice crystals in the air, maybe it's something like that. Of course, cars and reflections we see a lot, especially when there was rain or snow. Then there's some humidity on the lens or on the cover of the lens, and this can lead to all kinds of reflections. For example, one of the cameras looks directly to the street, and if a car passes by with the lights are shining directly into the camera, and then this you can see very well. And also during the day, if there are some water drops on the lens, you can get these kinds of artifacts. Rain and snow mostly looks like small bright dots. And this is one example of stuff we see which we cannot explain yet. Because when there is rain, and it seems only when the camera is more or less shining into the sun is shining into the camera, then sometimes during rainy weather, we get these lines in the video. They're only there for one single frame. The camera is running with 25 frames a second, so roughly 40 milliseconds is one frame. And I don't know what they are. So maybe they are a camera artifact, maybe some humidity on the lens is running down, creating a reflection. I don't know. But it seems only to happen if it is raining and if the sun is shining directly into the camera. We don't know yet. Yeah, we have some very nice pictures of lightning. Here is coming in from the right. And this is one of my favorite pictures. I can remember very good the evening which I found that. These are some red sprites. So this is lightning going up from the thundercloud. So from the thundercloud up into the atmosphere. That's also a well-known scientific phenomenon. So not aliens, nothing unknown, but they're rare to see by the naked eye because they are very fast. So they only have been there on one single frame. On the next frame, there was some afterglow and then they were gone. But with the stacking, we found them. And yeah, I was very excited. I think that's very cool. I've never seen them with my naked eye. So I'm very glad that the cameras caught them. Here are some examples of meteors. That's the meteor from the stacking example video. That's a small meteor in the distance, and you can see at the end it explodes, as we see quite frequently. Now I have some videos of meteors. Hopefully it works with zoom. So sometimes they go through or shortly above clouds. That's always nice to see. So an endless loop. I let it run a couple of times. Hopefully the compression will not eat the details away. That's another one, also in the distance. Once again. They can create quite bright flashes, as you can see. So they light up quite a portion of the sky. And this one is the best we have so far. This was going for a really long distance. And also, as you can see, hopefully, the trail is staying there for many, many seconds. So this is really a nice catch. And this one is so big, maybe something even reached the ground from this size of meteor. Sadly, we only had one camera looking this direction, so triangulation is not yet possible, but we are working on it. We see beautiful northern lights. Looking to the west, as you can see in the middle, a meteor. The sky is very, very clear in Hessdalen, so if we have clear sky, we almost have a meteor in every 20 minutes stack. This camera is looking to the south. We also had the northern lights in the south. And another one, also with a meteor in the middle top. We see a lot of satellites, and this recording also gave us something to research about. So here's a video. We quite often see satellite twins. So two satellites visible at the same time, close to each other, keeping the same distance. And as you will see in some seconds, this was even a satellite triplet. And during that day, the sky was not really that clear, But these 3 satellites seem to be very, very bright. So we saw them very well on the recording. And the member from our Discord community who is good with satellites, after 1 or 2 days, he most probably found the satellites which caused this, and I think it was some Chinese ones, was his resume. We also get cosmic particles hitting the camera sensors, and they can create tracks like this. They are only there in one frame, so they are very easy distinguishable from anything which is there in reality. 2 slides for other stuff we did this year, and then I will come to the unsolved cases. What we did this year, we put an infrasound sensor into the blue box, because there have been some reports by people that they hear very loud, very low-pitched sounds. So we wanted to find out if we can ever record them. And I had a device like this, and it is now running in the blue box. And sometimes when, for example, I see a meteor, a big one, I check the infrasound sensor and also the microphones in the cameras if I hear a boom from this meteor when it explodes or when it is coming down. But so far I had no luck, so I never could correlate sighting of these meteor fall with the infrasound sensor or with the microphones of the cameras. And what a member of Poland did, Marek, he put up a software-defined radio receiver to be used as a passive radar. So it does not send out any electromagnetic radiation. So it uses the radiation which is there from cell phone towers, or I guess more radio stations. And this can get reflected from the ionosphere or from planes. And we received that. And if you are a trained observer, I am not, you can see in this rainbow diagram that maybe something was flying through the valley. So I'm not an expert on SDR, but Marek is doing a lot in that direction. The activity this year, what I've been up to is I'm building a prototype of a solar-powered data logger with 4G, because then we can live stream the data from the valley. It works here, but it's just not yet ready to go to Hessdalen. I have to solve some electrical problems. Like Fred said, we are thinking or looking into a LoRa mesh network. Then more cameras are always a good idea. And also we submitted a proposal for funding to have a UV camera, because we know in the UV wavelengths, there's also stuff going on. Okay, but now back to the unexplained sighting. So this is the first one. We call it the 3-frame object because it's only there for 3 frames. I'm running the original video now. It's on an endless loop. And you have to be very quick with your eye. And with Zoom, I don't know if you will see it. I will run it a couple of times, just drink a sip of water, and you can see if you see it or not. There it was. One last time. And there. Okay. So now these are the single frames from this video. It's important to mention it's really the full frame, not a stack for darkness or brightness. It's the frame extracted from the video. Just a second. That's the first frame where this object appears, and I have it enlarged on the third slide. Then it is here, still above the horizon, and then in front of the trees. And here it is enlarged. Also, these are the real frames, not stacks. And we have no idea what it is. So it is only there in these three frames running with 25 frames a second, so 80 milliseconds. We don't have anything on the audio, also nothing on the other camera. They overlap a little bit in the field of view, but not that part of the video. I mean, it could be a lot of normal stuff, some reflection of stuff outside the field of view, for example, because it can reflect onto the camera sensor by internal reflections in the lens. Or maybe a transparent object falling down, maybe some rubbish blowing up by the wind. So we don't know yet. But we have to mention that we have looked at 100,000 of these stacks, and so far this is the only one we saw something like this. The sun was not really visible. It was shining into the, or it could shine into the camera, but behind clouds, as you can see here. But like I said, this we never saw before and never again. Then this is also a quite recent case. So I was looking through the stacks, and well, normally you call it like a pearl necklace. If you have dots like this in the sky, I thought, okay, this is nothing special. But then I scrolled through the next two stacks, and this thing was still there, as you can see here. So this is a stack over 1 hour and 20 minutes. And this thing was moving very, very slow through, like you can see, quite some distance in the sky. And we also have it on the other camera, and it was blinking only once per minute, which is quite slow. So normally all planes and planes mainly, which we see, they blink, as you know, every few seconds or even multiple times a second. The rotating satellite also is, either is visible far less than this, or also blinking more. So we don't also know what this is. So something was visible for 1 hour and 20 minutes, and also only blinking once per minute, covering some distance in the sky. We don't know yet what it is. We checked satellites, we checked a flight radar, of course, but we don't know. And this is the latest observation, and we are talking heavily about this on our Discord server at the moment, trying to do some all kind of image analysis. I think, that's the original video. So that's the unprocessed video exactly as it is coming out of the camera. On the little bit top right from the middle, you see there is something bright showing up. It's moving a little bit around, and then it's disappearing. I have single frames and stacks afterwards. I will run the video again. Here you can see it. It's appearing, moving a little bit back and forth. And then after some seconds, it's disappearing again. That's the same video, just with increased contrast. It's a little bit better visible here. I will just let it run. One more time. And gone. So here are some frames from this video, real frames, but with enhanced contrast. So this is the frame before anything happens, and there's nothing to see. And then on the first frame, where this object is appearing, we also have like a small white flash on the left, which you can see. And this small flash on the left is disappearing on the next frame, and the thing on the right, this will get brighter. So this is one frame further. I'm going back again. So that's the first frame where both of them are visible, and then only one of them is visible. That's when this object is coming into the view. And then at the end of the sightings, you also can see a movement in it. So you can still see the light in the sky. During the last two frames, it's almost stationary. And then this is the last frame where it is recorded, and it moved a little bit. And then on the next frame, it is gone completely. And I encircled some dark spots there. We also don't know what these are. We go back for the light, two back. So second last, still visible. Last one, it moved a little bit, and then it was completely gone. Yeah, and this strange dark stuff on the right, I'm not sure what it is because it is there for multiple frames. So birds and insects, you can see them moving, and they are not, their shadows doesn't stay there for multiple frames. Could be compression artifacts. We also don't know that yet. And here you can see a full stack of the video with the enhanced contrast. Yeah, something, I don't know what it is. So we checked for planes, of course, and there was a plane, but in south of the valley. So in my opinion, there's no chance that a plane can create a reflection like this. There also have been no cars during that time on the road driving in the valley. There's nothing on the camera and on the audio from the cameras. So we don't know yet. We are still investigating. Second last slide. Big thanks to the people of Hessdalen and of course to Erling and everybody else who has been or is still a member of Project Hessdalen. This is not all my work, of course. So Bluebox has been there for a long time. Many, many people helped so that we are at the space or at the place we are now, especially my wife, because I'm allowed to go there 2 times a year. And as Fred already mentioned, in September, we have the field trip and conference. So everybody is invited, but you have to pay for yourself. But please come to Hessdalen and hopefully see the lights for yourself. Thanks a lot.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Randy.
Thank you. Go ahead, Anna.
We seem to keep talking over each other. Great presentation. Those last lights were really, really interesting. I have a question. I just wanted to clarify. Those were more recent, correct? It looks like there was snow on the ground.
Yeah. Like I said, this is from November, this best one, and this slow-moving light is from October. So October and November, we had this last 2. The 3-frame object was in May. But other than these 3, we don't have really unexplainable stuff. So sometimes we see stuff flying around, which could be, for example, the seeds of plants. So, you know, I think dandelion, it is called, it has some hair, and there are similar types of plants in Hessdalen, everywhere. And when they get pushed around by the wind, we think that sometimes we see this floating by the camera during the daytime. But the most remarkable observations are these 3. The really good observations, like Fred showed, this really big light passing the blue box. Sadly, we don't have something like this yet because, the phenomenon is getting rarer. So from 20 observations a week to maybe 2 observations a month, but it is still happening. So in September this year, there was our field trip, and literally 1 week before the field trip, a local guy saw something, and we invited him so that he can tell us the story. And he said, he was seeing like a glowing cube for many minutes flying through the valley. His cell phone was charging in his home, so no pictures. Cube was flying around and surrounded by a ring or a sphere of fog or smoke, he described it. And it was flying, and then this cube was going down and fading out or dissolving, and this ring or this sphere of fog was still there for, I think he said, some minutes. And I immediately checked the cameras, and we asked him, okay, where were you standing? What was the direction? And he tried to put it on a map, and it was either above or behind our camera. So we didn't get anything on camera, but stuff is still happening, and remarkable observations are still happening. So that's really good to know.
Yes, absolutely. And it's unlikely that in these last images that could have been an insect given the temperature in the air.
One guy during the monthly meeting said that there are no insects anymore. I don't know, but normally they look different.
But we have the video from September 24, 24/7. All the videos is there.
So sometimes we get emails or questions on Discord from people who either saw something on the stream, or sometimes even people in the valley seeing something, and then we can immediately go back to the original video files and see if something is on the cameras. So far we have all this video. Every 148 days, I have to plug in another 20 terabyte hard drives, and I have 3 empty slots. So we are good for another year.
and it's on YouTube Live. We have some difficulties with the YouTube Live. It's kind of lagging a little bit, but hopefully that will be fixed. Mhm.
All right, great. Anybody here have any questions? Not right now. Okay, that was absolutely fascinating. So, Reiner, I got a couple questions for you about the data logger.
Yeah.
So, since I've got this data logger here for everybody to see, and then I'll bring it back to my house, I probably got to change out the batteries because it's probably had it for more than a month now. How do I get that information to you, or how do I look at it, or what do we do with that?
You can take out the micro SD card and you can just put it into your computer, and it is saved as a text file. And I can send you the information, what number means what, and I also have a simple Python script to plot it, and then you can just send it via email. So I can send you a documentation of how to turn it on, and it blinks a couple of times in the startup sequence. So you can see if it's blinking red, then something went wrong, and you can see exactly what went wrong, counting the number of blinks. And then, yeah, if it's running, it's logging, I think, Euron every minute, and it's saving it in a text file, basically, a comma-separated value file. So even if it's Excel, you should be able to get the data out.
Okay, then great. Then I never turned it on, so so the batteries are still good. So yeah, I'll get that info from you, and we can figure that out.
Yeah. Just drop me an email, or I will write Anna, and she can pass it forward of how to get the data out, what is the data format, and how to turn it on.
Yep. No, that'd be great. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Is this the same as an EMF meter? I'm sure it measures the same stuff, but Reinar, please.
I mean, it does not directly have an antenna to measure electromagnetic radiation. So I mean, electromagnetic radiation can cause something in the magnetic field, but not directly, no.
Okay. Yes, sir. Do you have any schematics to build these things online, or do we need to get a hold of you and to get these?
I can send them if you want to. So they're not online yet, but it's nothing secret. So the PCB is quite easy. It's in KeyCut, and yeah, part list is also not really difficult. Yeah, if you want them, I can send them.
Yep. We definitely have some interest in setting those out for you.
Okay. Also, I have to say, I'm sure there's room for improvement, but this is the best we could come up in this year, because I joined in January, we had the idea in February, and in June, they have to be ready for prototypes to get them out. So I'm sure there's much room for improvement, but I'm also sure if there would have been something bigger than 1 or 2 degrees, we would have recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, if you sit and wait on trying to improve everything, you're going to be waiting a long time. So you got to get stuff out. So that's awesome. That's great. Okay.
Maybe
you guys got anything over there? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, maybe we could comment that the Ukrainians that actually came in 24 to the conference, they have built the box, and they have improved on that, and they're going to send us this box, and they showed it during this whole symposium. Did you see it, Rainer?
Yes, they showed it to me. So they built a better data logger than me. Yeah, with other sensors and more sensors, and they also want to send it to us, like Fred said.
Mm-hmm.
And this also can send the data multiple times per day to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it will run quite long with one car battery. And we are really excited. We will do some tests with both of the data loggers, but yeah, so there's more data logging going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Anybody? No.
So
okay, go ahead, Anna.
I have something I just wanted to comment on. Yes, absolutely, Rainer. We would definitely like the schematics on that.
Okay.
And if it's okay with you, we could put that on our website even. And we'll also have some links to Project Hesdalen and all of that on our website as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just lost the question that I had in my head. My apologies. I was thinking about the data logger. The logger that the Ukrainians had.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot more expensive, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so
they charge. They want to have $900 for one of the loggers, and the hardware alone for my logger is $23.
Yes, that's what I thought. So much more affordable for the do-it-yourselfer.
Mm.
I was also hoping you could expand a little bit on
On
Lost you?
Oh,
the
Anna,
trip
you're
itself.
lost.
So obviously, I know what happened.
Oh, you
and
have to repeat.
yeah, we lost you there for a second.
yeah,
My apologies.
we're having that problem here in Fargo. My apologies. I was hoping you could expand a little bit on the field trip from this last year. I know that we're not going to probably do that full thing next year, but I have a feeling you'll be doing more field trips in the future. And I know there would be some interest in what actually happens in those field trips.
Ed, do you?
Well, first of all, what we did this year, because we didn't have the time to create proper data loggers this time, so we bought 3 of these 360 camera, and we used to put one of them near your cabin, Anne. So when you go to the front page of hestan.org, you will see 3 of these round cubes, round videos. So this is like from one night. So we took like one picture every second, and you have the whole night. Because the thing is that the goal was basically to be able to put out one of the 360 cameras on 3 mountaintops, but it was too much wind and too much difficulty to get out. We have big dreams. We would like to kind of also educate people going out, and if we are on 3 different places, then maybe we can flash some light and see how does it look like. Are we able to do triangulation? Do we see how airplanes look like, and so on? So because of the weather and not enough planning in a way, but we didn't manage to do too much of that. But that's the goal, to not only be there and see, but also to learn how to do stuff properly. I think one of the most interesting part of this field trip was actually when we had a bonfire, and people wouldn't sit down because people were just standing there and discussing all night. Even Jon Arvid, who is how old is he now? 81, 80 something, 90. He would stand there and talk to people all night long. So just socializing and meeting people is also a big part of this. But even this year, if you go to the newsletter and you see, we have one recording of kind of a blue orb kind of moving and pulsating a little bit. Don't know what it is, but at least we got it this year. And last year in 24, some people said that they saw light. I'm myself, I'm not sure because I was too busy organizing the breakfast and the lunch and whatever. But these 2 trips that we've had, people have said that they've seen the light. But like Scott Descain was there with his 2 sons and the photographer, and one of his sons was like, I'm sure I see something, and then we were looking at the same thing, and then it's moving, he said, and we were like, no, it's just the time lag. Your eyes is going like that, looking at the same thing, and then we had to tell him and teach him that we can see the cabin you're talking about, but in your eyes it's moving, in our eyes it's not. So that's a little bit of experiencing. But the sky up there is, everything is moving so much because you see it so clearly.
Other
Yes.
stuff we are doing through the field trip is during the days, we are often on some mountaintops. So hiking is a big thing. If anybody likes hiking, that's the place to be. We went to the silent zone once again because Scott and the others wanted to see it. And I was a lot of the time in the blue box preparing equipment. And then in the evenings and the nights, we often were somewhere spotting the sky.
Mhm. And Erling had a guided tour, so he took the trip around and explained, like in this side, people have seen this, and so on. And we also went down to the sulfur mine, which is a place where people have seen things.
There are
Yes.
also some effects of like a battery drain and stuff.
Mm.
And at the mine, it might have happened to me, but because I put cameras a lot of times to the exit of the mine, on the pictures, there doesn't seem to be something special, but the batteries run out one time quite fast.
Mhm.
Yes, the whole field trip was really a great experience for me. I did learn why Erling is called the goat. I think that that's a very fitting name. He is very fit and just marches right up those mountains.
Mhm.
But beautiful scenery, beautiful camaraderie, really.
Mhm.
And really was just an amazing experience for me to be with so many like-minded people. And I highly encourage anybody that is interested to make that trip out. It's not as bad as it sounds. But yeah, I'm looking forward to 2026.
Mhm. Yeah. So you have to go and follow on hestdalen.org. You will see field trips, and you'll see 26. And I'm trying to put out information as we have more and more plans for that.
Just 3 pictures from Hestdalen. So this is the main road when you look into the valley. This is on the top of the mountain called Rogne. It's at the beginning of the valley. And yeah, you can see very far into the valley. And that's also the place where the science camps have been taking place.
Mm.
And then one last picture. This is overseeing the Lake Öjungen. So it can be really nice there.
Mm.
Really like it.
September could have nice autumn colors.
Yes, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So what are your goals to get equipment in the future? I know you mentioned it a little bit, Fred, but what
Well, now we have this.
what exactly are you looking for as far as funding and equipment?
What you saw that Rainer is building is based on a solar panel and a battery, and kind of trying to make it cheaper. So the goal is to have something that has a camera and some sensors, and it can be put out all over the valley. Oh, let's say if we have 5-6 places, that is the goal. So on this page, on the field trip page, you'll see that we have a year wheel. So the game, the goal is basically to have like starting in the year to plan, and then in May to test equipment, and then to build this equipment, and then when September comes to install it. So we're trying to do that. See how far we can get. Like this time, we didn't manage to get new equipment, so we made this. We bought in this 360 cameras, and actually now it is like if you ever go to Hestdalen yourself, you can borrow this for free. So you can follow the instructions on the site, and you can put it out and have like one picture every second. There is even a battery pack for 20,000 milliampere, so it will last for a whole night. And you can even on the site you can see the 360 pictures that Anna took from her cabin and some others took. So we're trying to put everything out. So if you take a trip, you can borrow this for free.
And Fred, did you verify that you don't see me in my pajamas in that?
I've been looking and looking, didn't find anything. No.
For a little reference, the 360 takes a picture of everything around you, and I kept forgetting, and I'd go out in the morning for my coffee in my pajamas, and I'd see the camera, and I'd be like, "Oh, geez."
Yeah, no. But it is kind of interesting because, like, just 1 week before the conference in 24, I got this phone call from Helge, the one that saw these two creatures, and he said 2 of these tic tac were just crossing over his head. And he was actually in that area where you had your cabin, and so it's far away from our cameras, but just shoom shoom so fast over his head, no way he could take a picture. So we know there are things happening in many different areas. Now we have a camera down to by the Jungen, and Rainer and me were sitting there with Frank, who has a cabin in this area, and a neighbor came over and asked, "What are you talking about?" We told her, and she said, "Yeah, just a year ago, or less than a year ago, she was walking on the street there, and she saw like a cigar that was just hovering in the sky, and an airplane was passing by, and this was all still. And then when the airplane had gone, then this cigar was also taking off. So we know that we should have cameras all over, but it's just the cost, just the time and the cost."
And how can people donate to Project Hessdalen?
You go to hessdalen.org and /donate. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah. I have. First of all, we would like to have members, and that is like about $5, €5 a month. I'm using Ko-fi, and Ko-fi is because they don't charge anything extra. So basically, most of the money that you pay would go directly to our account. But there's also a bank account and a Stripe if you want to use that. But /donate.
And if you don't want to donate money, but you are an expert of something, you can also
Yes.
donate your time.
Yes.
So experts of any sensors are very welcome.
Yes. Yeah, we need
I was
people.
just asked.
We need people.
I don't see any questions online. I think all the questions in Fargo have been answered. How about in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, I think we're good here.
Well, gentlemen,
You can
thank
email
you.
us anytime.
If you guys want their contact information, is that okay if we give it out?
Yes, of course, of course.
Perfect. We will do that. Thank you guys so much. It was really a pleasure having you, and I really appreciate you guys staying up so late for us. If you're not aware, it's what, 11 or 12 o'clock for you, Rainier?
Almost 11, but that's fine.
No problem.
Yeah, because of the time difference. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys' time.
Okay.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.